back on the R2S Sports Channel. Matchday 1 is finally approaching. It is today, and we will be going over my predictions for Matchday 1 for the Champions League. Let's get right into it. Our first game, we have Young Boys versus Manchester United. I think Manchester United should come out pretty dominant in this game. Young Boys, they are the champions of Switzerland, but I think they will struggle against Manchester United. Ronaldo looked really solid last game, so I think he'll come through, probably score if he plays. Young Boys, though, they're kind of an interesting team. I think they potentially could get on the score sheet with the American Sabachiu, but I'm not sure that he alone is enough for them to get through. So I'm going to have Manchester United winning this game 3-0. Next up, we have Sevilla versus RB Salzburg. I think this should also be a fairly interesting game. Both teams are relatively even. RB Salzburg has a really strong attack. In 7 games so far in their league, they've scored 19 goals. So they are a threat going forwards. Defending, they are pretty decent. I think they're averaging less than 1 goal against per game. And then Sevilla, they have a very strong defense with Diego Carlos. So I think this should be a pretty even match. So I've gone with a 1-1 draw. For our next game, we have Dynamo Kyiv versus SL Benfica. I think this game should be pretty one-sided towards Benfica, but although the game is at Dynamo Kyiv, I think they might chip a goal off of Benfica. Benfica so far in the Portuguese league has not dropped any points yet, so I don't think they'll drop any points here, and I think they'll smoothly come through with a win, 2-1. Our next game is a battle of two giants. We have Barcelona versus FC Bayern. So I'm going for FC Bayern. I got the jersey on. I have Bayern coming out pretty dominant in this game. I think Barcelona without Aguero, finally without Messi in the Champions League. So I think they will struggle. Although Memphis Depay, I think he will get on the score sheet. But Bayern Munich, just too dominant of a team. I think Alphonso Davies is out, but I think Lewandowski, Gnabry, Sane, Muller, I think their attack's too dominant. So I think they will win this game 3-1. For next game, we have Villarreal versus Atlanta. This game's going to be probably not the best. I'm probably not going to end up watching this game, just the highlights. But both teams are struggling in their league so far. Villarreal hasn't gotten a win yet. They have 3 draws in 3 games. The last game was against Atletico Madrid that they drew 2-2. So that is a good result, but their other games just 0-0 draws. So they've been goalless in both games. Atalanta lost their last game against Fiorentina, which is a pretty bad loss for them. I think since last season, they've lost a lot of players, which has damaged the squad a lot. So I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I have Villarreal taking the win, though, with a 1-0 win. Next up, we have Lille versus Wolfsburg. Lille has looked absolutely terrible so far this season. I believe they're currently sitting 13th in their table of the French league. So I think they'll continue to struggle ever since they lost their coach. They've lost countless amounts of players. They're very similar to how Monaco was after they won the French league, just selling everyone. So I think this is kind of a similar situation. Maybe Jonathan David or Tim Weah will play and end up on the score sheet. But I think Wolfsburg is just a little bit better than Lille, despite the game being at Lille. This is actually a game I'm betting on. I have money on Wolfsburg to win this game. So I'm going with a Wolfsburg win 2-0. We head over to another English game. We have Chelsea versus Zenit. Chelsea, the previous winners of the Champions League, I think they'll continue their dominance through this game. Mendy in goal. He's a brilliant goalkeeper. I think he's just going to save everything. I don't expect Zenit to score at all, especially with their defense. They just have really good tactics set up to where they're constantly on the press while having their back line be very stable at the same time. Lukaku's probably going to bag a brace in this game as well. Zenit, I don't see them doing too much, although they do have Malcolm, the former Barcelona player. What a strange career he has had. But I think he potentially could create something for Zenit if they do score. And then it would be Zuber who'd probably score. But I think Chelsea will calmly sweep through Zenit with a 4-0 win. For our final game of Tuesday, we have Malmo versus Juventus. I think Juventus is very fortunate that they drew Malmo of all teams in this group. Although they aren't in the strongest of groups, Juventus looked absolutely poor since Cristiano Ronaldo was sold to Manchester United. So I think they were lucky to get Malmo of any of these teams here. So hopefully they'll come through and get the win. I have them winning this game 1-0, potentially with Chiesa scoring. I think they needed this game, especially in the Champions League, to get them back on track. Heading to the Wednesday games, first game that we have is Besiktas versus Dortmund. This should be a fairly interesting game. This is probably going to be the one that I watch from the morning games. This definitely interesting. You see Batshuayi at Besiktas, who's finally playing against Dortmund for the first time. He was very good on Dortmund, bagged a lot of goals, had a good FIFA card that year. I believe it was 2017. So I think he will score a goal. I think this will be a really high scoring game since Dortmund, every single games, there seems to be at least 4 to 6 goals in the game. So this would be a good game to bet the over, which I probably will. So Batshuayi, Pjanic, I think they will have good games. Dortmund, you have Erling Haaland, who's honestly top 3 striker in the world currently. So I think Dortmund will come through with the win 2-3, with Haaland scoring at least 2 goals. Next up, we have Sheriff versus Shakhtar. So 2 lesser appealing teams in this tournament. Sheriff coming from Moldova. I don't know too much about this team, so I had to do a little bit of research. They did beat Red Star in the play-in for this, so that should be interesting. They have their first home game as well. Shakhtar, their squad is just full of Brazilians and Ukrainians, so I think with that, Shakhtar will be very dominant in this game, especially because I think Sheriff will have some jitters coming into this game. So this is kind of going to be an outrageous prediction, but I have Shakhtar winning this game 5-0. But I could easily see this game being a 0-0 or 1-1 draw. On to the next game, we have Club Brugge versus PSG. I think Club Brugge could surprise a few people. They are a very good team from the Belgian league. Uh, their forwards pretty strong. They have Bas Dost, who previously was in the Portuguese league, and I think he's proven himself as a pretty good goal scorer. He has earned the nickname Bastiano Dastaldo. I think that was some nickname he was given when he was there. So I think he could probably bag one. They also have Noah Lang, the Dutchman, as well. He's a very solid winger. So I think they could probably maybe get one on the back end against PSG. But let's head over to PSG, talk about them for a little bit. So Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe might all start together for this game. Messi coming back from the international break, very strong. I believe he had a hat trick for Argentina. So I think I think these 3 together could definitely prove themselves to be one of the best front threes we've ever seen since Messi, Suarez, Neymar. So I think they will struggle to gel with each other at first. Messi's debut game, they kind of struggled to score against some French teams. So I think Club Brugge will hold them out for a while. So I have PSG winning this game 2-1. Now, once again, we head back over to England for what has to be the 3rd or 4th game an English team has a home game. We have Manchester City versus RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig has looked very bad in the Bundesliga so far. They just also played Bayern this last weekend, so it doesn't get much better. Play the champions of Germany. Now they play the champions of England. So I think they will struggle through this game. Manchester City's looked pretty dominant. They did just play Leicester, coming off with a really good win against them. So I think Man City come through, bag a lot of goals. So I think they'll win 4-1. Next up, we have Atletico Madrid versus Porto. Porto is a really good center back pairing in Chancellor Mbemba, former Newcastle player, as well as Pepe, former Real Madrid player. Although Pepe is like 40 years old now, he's still looking very strong in that back, especially with Mbemba's pace. So they have a very interesting partnership with those 2 center backs. As well as going forward, they have some pretty good options. They did knock out Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus last year in the Champions League. So I think they're definitely one team to look out for in this group who could potentially advance. Although this is one of the hardest groups of all the Champions League, Atletico does have a very strong team. In midfield, they have Llorente, who was really good last year. They still have Luis Suarez as well and João Felix. So I think they're one to look out for as well to maybe even get through to the semifinals of this stage. but I think this is going to be a fairly even matchup. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. Once again, we have another English team with a home game. We have Liverpool versus AC Milan. AC Milan's finally back in the Champions League, but their starting striker is old man Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic is a wonderful player and all, but I think he's just a little too old to be having your team still, especially for them. So I think they will struggle at Anfield. Liverpool, of course, Mane Salah as their two wingers. Whoever they decide to start at striker, albeit, but I think this team is just too good to be stopped. Virgil van Dijk, very dominant defender. I think he'll keep them at bay the whole time. So I have Liverpool easily winning this 2-0. For our second to last game, we have Sporting Portugal versus Ajax. This is going to be probably one of the highest scoring games collectively. Both teams, very high scoring teams. Sporting, they have Gonçalves, who looks really good so far, young player, wearing Cristiano Ronaldo's number in 28 when he played there. So he looks really good so far. He basically is Bruno Fernandes 2.0 there. They also have brought in Pablo Sarabia from PSG. So I think they should have a really strong midfield in this game. On Ajax's side, though, they have Sebastian Haller from West Ham. They bought him for a decent price, but he's been bagging a lot of goals for them. I think they found a really good system for him. And as well, they also have Dusan Tadic, who loves to score in the Champions League. So I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I have this actually going down as a 2-2 draw. For our final game, it's a big one. We have Inter Milan versus Real Madrid. I think this is going to be very low scoring. Real Madrid tends to do that in the Champions League as of recently. So Modric has been playing really well. They brought in Kamavinga for, I believe, 35 to 39 mil. So very cheap for him, who has been thought of as one of the biggest talents in midfield, who's only 17, 18 years old. He's really young, looked really good the last game, scoring his first goal. I think you can't leave out that Hazard last game. They did score 5 goals, but Hazard created, I think, 5 chances or something. So he's back in his form. I think he might be mad about the FIFA card that he got. I think he got like an 85 rated card. I think he's ready to bring that back up. They have Benzema as well. Benzema's been bagging goals, had a hat trick last game. Over to Inter Milan, though, they've lost some key pieces. They obviously lost Lukaku. They lost Hakimi. So I think Inter Milan will struggle in this game, but I think Real Madrid will struggle to find their first goal in this game. So I have Real Madrid winning this game 1-0. Those have been my Champions League predictions for match day one. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like. And if you made it this far in the video, please subscribe to the channel. I'm still looking to grow the channel. Last video really helped. So we're still looking to grow. And yeah, with that, I'll see you guys next time.